Hi everyone, this is Hannah, and we're going to be reading Margaret Peterson Haddix's Found, Chapter 3. Well, why didn't you tell me that this afternoon? Jonah asked. He felt kind of silly. It was like when he was on the swim team and some of his friends had hidden his clothes. So he had to walk through the rec center lobby wearing nothing but a Speedo while everyone else was fully clothed. I told you I was adopted. Why didn't you tell me? I didn't know! Chip exploded. His whole face was red. Mom and Dad never told me anything. All this time I thought my parents were my real parents. They're still your real parents, Jonah corrected automatically. They are not, Chip said furiously. They're total strangers to me now. How could they not tell me? That wasn't a question Jonah could answer. After a certain point, he'd stopped reading all the kid-approved Isn't Adoption Wonderful books his parents had bought for him, and had started sneaking peeks at some of the books on their bookshelves. Raising the Well-Adjusted Adopted Child, What to Tell Your Adopted and Foster Children, Adoption Without Secrets. All the adoptive parents' books Jonah had ever seen acted like there was one commandment Moses had forgotten to bring down from Mount Sinai. Tell adopted kids the truth. Chip was running his hands violently through his hair again. If he kept that up, he'd end up pulling it all out. Stop that, Jonah said. Your parents probably thought they were doing the right thing. Chip laughed bitterly. Yeah, the right thing for them. He stood up abruptly, knocking the desk chair over backward. This is just like them. They always want to pretend that everything is normal, that everything's fine. No, Chip, you didn't hear anyone yelling last night. Your father and I never fight. Adoption is normal, Jonah said stiffly. It's been part of human society for centuries. Chip shot him a get-real look and began pacing. When he reached Jonah's door, he pounded his fist on the wood. Then he lowered his forehead onto his fists and just stood there. Chip? Jonah said nervously. Are you okay? You know what's funny? Chip said in a strangled voice without lifting his head. It's kind of a relief, not being related to them. I don't want to be like Mom and Dad anyhow. But who am I for real? Who are my real parents? Birth parents, Jonah said quietly. They're called birth parents. Chip rolled his head to the side. Would you stop that? He said. It's like you're brainwashed or something. What? Jonah said defensively. Those are the correct terms. Birth parents are the people who give birth to you. Real parents are the ones who change your diapers and get up in the middle of the night when you're a baby and show you how to ride a bike without training wheels. And he stopped because he thought maybe he was quoting directly from What to Tell Your Adopted and Foster Children. Chip slid down to the floor, crumpling like one of those rag dolls Catherine used to drag around by the foot. My parents didn't show me how to ride a bike, he said. They left that to the babysitter. Jonah thought for a moment. Well, at least they're the ones who paid the babysitter. Chip groaned. He balled his hands into fists again and pressed them against his eye sockets. Why? He whispered. Why did my real parents give me up? This time, Jonah didn't bother correcting Chip out loud, though his brain translated. You mean your birth mother set up an adoption plan? You know, there are lots of reasons people can't take care of their own kids, Jonah said cautiously. Maybe your birth parents died. Maybe you're adopted from Russia or someplace like that where things are different. He waited a second. Chip didn't move. Maybe now that you know you're adopted, your mom and dad might tell you more about your story. If they know it. Sometimes even the records are sealed at the time of the adoption. People change their minds and decide they want to be more open. Okay, now Jonah was almost certain that he was quoting directly from one of his parents' books. Chip began shaking his head again, so hard it rattled the door behind him. Then he glared over at Jonah, his eyes burning. My dad said, Chip choked, swallowed hard. Try it again. My dad said I didn't need to know anything else. He said he never wanted to talk about this again. And then Jonah felt the anger boiling up inside of him. Jonah didn't get mad often. He'd never met Chip's dad, just seen him drive by. He drove a nice car, a BMW. Jonah probably couldn't have picked Chip's dad out in a lineup. But right now, Jonah wanted to stalk over to Chip's house, swing his best punch, and hit Chip's dad right in the mouth. He wanted to hit him a couple of times. Jonah clenched his fists. Chip was still staring up at him, but his expression had slipped over into helplessness now. Helplessness and hopelessness. What can I do? Chip asked. When you're a grown-up, Jonah said, you can try to find your birth parents. You won't need your mom and dad's permission for anything then. And until then, I swear, I'll do everything I can to help you. That was chapter 3, and see you guys in the next video, where one of my classmates will be reading chapter 4.